So this is my day 6 video of my 10-day challenge. And on the 10th day, I'm going to tell you why I'm doing this challenge, who encouraged me to do it, and I'll be shouting them out, and hopefully they'll be shouting me out. We'll see how this goes. But I'm learning a ton as I'm going through this challenge. So it's November 12th, 2024. And on this day 6, I want to talk about small business and side hustles and kids starting businesses and homesteading, and I'm going to tie that all together, hopefully, and make something that's sensible and is encouraging as well. So after I got out of the Marine Corps, I got my master's degree in business. So I got an MBA, which really means nothing other than I have a huge college debt, educational debt. And I learned that the education isn't really what matters. It's who you know who matters. Because after applying and sending resumes out for 200 jobs, I got one call back, one interview, and they hired the guy that had no experience, no education, but he knew the guy who was doing the hiring. He was part of the family, distant family cousin or something like that. So I learned that it's about who you know, not what you know necessarily. So couldn't find a job, so I went and got a job selling BMWs for a year and a half. And that's when I met a bunch of finance people in the corporate world and big banks. And that's how I got a job doing corporate banking. So I spent 8 years at one of the big three, the top three banks. You would know it, obviously. And I did corporate banking working with the small businesses up to 10 million. And then I moved up to the bigger businesses that were making up to 50 million revenue a year. And I consulted with a ton of businesses, helped them grow their business, helped them get the financing they need for their business. And I did a lot of consulting with business. And I like doing that. I really do like, one, helping people, and two, I love business and just the way it operates. There's so many intricacies to it. But throughout my life, even in my younger days, I always had some sort of side hustle, side business. I did real estate, obviously, and I did multi-level marketing and several other different things. And I encouraged my kids to do that as well. So I've raised my kids to not rely on a college education unless they want to be a doctor, a lawyer, a CPA, or something where it's required to have some sort of degree. Go ahead and do that. But if you're not planning on being one of those high tech, I need a degree type jobs, you can learn everything online. Everything is free right now online. You can learn everything you need to know, but it's not about necessarily the degree. It's about who you know. And as we talked about in previous videos, providing a value to somebody. So if you go in, say you're interested in doing whatever job, you go and work for that person for free. Provide value to that person. They're going to hire you and pay you tons of money if you provide value to them. So I don't know if that message came across properly, but that's just really how I feel and believe in my heart right now. So my kids, I raised them at a young age, starting doing their side hustles, their small businesses, and I've had all of my kids doing some sort of side businesses, and some of them have really gotten good at it. So one of my daughters, at probably age 8 or 9, had all these big dreams and things that she wanted to buy and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, great. How are we going to pay for that? And she didn't know. And I said, well, I totally encourage you to have these big dreams and things that you want, but you should always be thinking about, okay, how can I afford that? How can I pay for that? And so I gave her the idea, like, well, we have all these water bottles around the house, and we usually throw them in the blue bin, and somebody picks them up in a big old truck. But if we put them in garbage bags and take them down to the grocery store, there's a little truck out there, and they crush them, and they pay you a nickel each. So we started doing that, and she started making 20, 40 bucks, 50 bucks, here and there, and started liking that. And then she started selling slime at school. She'd make slime and take it to school and sell it, or she'd take Mexican candy and sell it. Then she started taking coolers full of boba tea and then mixing it at school and selling it to her friends. And I don't know if that's against the school rules, but I totally encourage it because it's a great idea, and she made a ton of money. Then she turned it into a business where she was making like Starbucks cups, and decorating them with vinyl that she got a Cricut cutter and started cutting vinyl and making cups, and then making clothing items. And that blew up into a big business. And that's one of her main incomes now, is her clothing line. And it's all over, TikTok and Instagram and whatever else her Shopify, whatever, in her markets that she goes and does. But now she's opening up a coffee shop and going to be tying her clothing line into the coffee shop. And it's all grace-based stuff. So, couldn't be more happy. We actually had a business meeting with a business consultant today that's going to help with the financing of her new business, and so all that stuff is really exciting. I can't remember if I said that I recorded a whole video and it got deleted this morning. So I recorded this video already. It got deleted, and it was probably the best video I've ever made, best video you've ever seen. It was incredible, but it got deleted. My whole system just crashed on me, and it didn't save it. So anyway, but something I was telling you about in this other video you didn't get to see was that everyone should be thinking about what kind of side hustle or small business that they want to start or get into. Turn your job into a side hustle, into a business, because that's what the government wants you to do. That's how you'll pay the least amount in taxes. I mean, if you're a W-2 employee, you are the most taxed in the whole country. You get the most taxed. If you're a small business, you get taxed less. If you're a big business, you get taxed less. If you're a business owner or an investor, you get taxed less, because the different ways you're getting taxed, from employment income to employment taxes to business taxes to capital gains taxes and dividend taxes. It's all taxed differently. And one book that I read, one author that changed my life, I've read this book probably, in the 90s. Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I highly recommend you read this book. It'll teach you about the difference between assets and liabilities, and not what they tell you they are, but what they really are. Assets put money in your pocket. Liabilities take money out of your pocket. Most people tell you your asset is your home or your car, and that's not necessarily the case, because those take money out of your pocket. Those are actually liabilities. So anyway, as I'm kind of evolving in my journey with business and my family, I'm and all that's going on in the world, especially over the past 4 years with, I think, the political landscape and the economy that we've been in, it really made me focus on, hey, if the stuff really hits the fan, what am I going to do? I mean, I got an MBA. What's that going to do me? I can type really fast, and I know how to work spreadsheets, and I can consult businesses, and I've done banking, but what's that really going to help me? I mean, if the power goes off and the S hits the fan, I mean, what are we going to do? So I started thinking about different homesteading topics, whether it's being able to be handy with my hands, making things, baking things, trading things, bartering things. And we started making sourdough bread, and we've been bartering the sourdough bread and the different baking products that we make for local fresh honey, for fresh local meat, for fresh local eggs, for fresh raw milk, and all these things that are very important to our health and our diet and our way of life. And now I'm thinking about, I need to get some goats and I need to get some chickens. I'm going to be building a chicken coop. I've been playing around with wood, and I should have said it like that. Sorry. I've been making things with wood and learning how to, do all that stuff and being more handy. And I think that's all these little things kind of add up to, we need to be thinking, I don't know, more self-sustaining, more sustainable for ourselves, not the whole green economy. We have to be sustaining the world, and that, I mean, that, that may be important, but being able to be self-sufficient is super important. And learning the people around, knowing the people around you, learning things that you can trade with them, learning skills, and how am I going to tie this all together with business and side hustles and probably not going to college because they've made that thing worthless, and being self-sustaining. I don't know. But I think I'm going to talk more about the economy here on day 10. This is day 6. And so in a couple days, I'm going to talk more about the economy and how I feel about that. And this kind of ties in with all of that. So anyway, this is I'm terrible at these videos. I'm trying to get better. I'm not shaking my chair as much. I'm trying not to say the pet words as much. I think I got my audio to a place where it's more clear to understand, other than my speaking voice, which I'll have to change and learn my inflections and all that good stuff. So I'm trying to get better. Every day I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to learn and trying to do more. And in the near future, I'm going to be talking about topics that you may be more interested in, things that I have that from my experience and my passions that I love to talk about. I'm going to be digging deep in some of these topics, and I think it's going to get really good. So this is day 6 of my 10-day challenge. I thank you all for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.